The Secret Garden of Possibilities. Theme: self-discovery, growth mindset. It was a warm, golden summer afternoon when 12-year-old Ella found herself wandering through her grandmother's large, old house. The sun's rays trickled in through the windows, highlighting the faded wallpaper and the delicate antiques scattered around. It was the kind of house where every creaking floorboard seemed to whisper secrets of the past. Ella had always loved visiting her grandmother. The house felt like a treasure trove of mysteries waiting to be discovered. But this time was different. Her parents had just moved to a new town, and she felt like her world had been turned upside down. Her new school was filled with unfamiliar faces, and the more she tried to fit in, the more invisible she felt. With a heavy heart, she climbed the creaky stairs to the attic. The attic was her refuge, a place where she could lose herself among the dust-covered trunks and forgotten heirlooms. As she sifted through old books, vintage hats, and faded photographs, something caught her eye: a small, rusty key lying on top of a yellowed envelope. She picked it up carefully, turning it over in her hands. The key was simple, yet something about it felt special, almost magical. The envelope beneath it had just one word written in elegant cursive: possibilities. What could this key open? She whispered to herself. Curiosity sparkled in her eyes, pushing aside the clouds of doubt and loneliness that had been haunting her. She slipped the key into her pocket and made her way downstairs. "Grandma?" Ella asked, entering the kitchen where her grandmother was baking apple pie. The scent of cinnamon and sugar filled the air. "Yes, dear?" Her grandmother smiled warmly. "Do you know what this key is for?" Ella held it up, the metal glinting in the afternoon light. Her grandmother's eyes widened slightly. A mysterious smile curved her lips. "Ah, I wondered when you'd find that key. It's been waiting for you." "Waiting for me?" Ella asked, puzzled. Her grandmother wiped her hands on her apron and leaned down to whisper, "There's a door in the garden. It's hidden among the ivy, and only that key can open it. But remember, it's not just any door. What you find behind it depends on you." Ella's heart thudded with excitement. A hidden door in the garden? She thanked her grandmother and dashed outside. The garden was wild and sprawling, filled with overgrown flowers, twisting vines, and the hum of bees. She wandered through the green maze, her eyes scanning every corner. After what felt like hours, she finally saw it. A door almost completely covered in ivy. It was small and wooden, with an old-fashioned keyhole. Her fingers trembled slightly as she inserted the key. It fit perfectly. With a soft click, the door swung open. Ella stepped through and gasped. Before her lay a breathtaking garden unlike any she had ever seen. It stretched farther than her eyes could measure, filled with the most vibrant and unusual plants. The flowers shimmered in hues she couldn't name, and the air was filled with a soft, melodic hum. The sky above was a brilliant shade of blue, with fluffy clouds that seemed to smile down at her. But something strange happened as she took her first step forward. The plants closest to her began to change. The flowers drooped, their colors fading to gray. The air grew colder. Confused, Ella took a step back, and the flowers slowly brightened again. "What's happening?" she wondered aloud. A soft voice, as gentle as the wind, replied, "This garden reflects your thoughts, Ella." Ella spun around, but there was no one there, only the wind rustling through the leaves. "Your thoughts shape this garden," the voice continued. "Your fears, your hopes, your doubts, they all affect what you see." Ella's eyes widened. She looked at a cluster of roses to her left. "What if I mess everything up?" she thought. The roses immediately shriveled, their petals falling to the ground. Her heart sank. Was this garden so fragile? that her negative thoughts could ruin it. But then she remembered the word on the envelope: possibilities. Maybe the garden wasn't just reflecting her fears. Maybe it was showing her that her mind had more power than she realized. Determined to test this, she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She thought of the things that made her feel happy and hopeful, the way her grandmother's apple pie tasted, the joy of running barefoot in the grass, the thrill of discovering a new story in a book. When she opened her eyes, the garden had transformed. The roses bloomed brighter than before, and golden butterflies fluttered around them. The air felt warmer, filled with a soft, comforting breeze. A smile spread across Ella's face. "I did that," she whispered in awe. "Yes," the voice replied. "You did." Ella spent hours exploring the garden, testing her thoughts. When she felt brave and confident, the garden blossomed into a paradise of colors and life. Flourish if she nurtured it with positivity and belief in herself. The next day, Ella returned to her new school with a different mindset. She remembered the lesson of the garden. When she felt nervous or out of place, she reminded herself of her power to choose her thoughts. Instead of thinking, "No one will talk to me," she thought, "I have so much to share." When a math problem seemed too hard, she thought, "I can figure this out." Slowly, things began to change. She made new friends, her schoolwork improved, and she felt a spark of joy that had been missing. The more she believed in herself, the more her life began to bloom, just like the garden. One evening, as she sat with her grandmother on the porch, Ella whispered, "Grandma, thank you for the key." Her grandmother smiled knowingly. "The key was just a tool, dear. The real magic was inside you all along." Ella's heart swelled with warmth. She knew now that she held the key not just to a garden, but to a life full of possibilities. Moral: your thoughts shape your reality. Believe in yourself, nurture your dreams, and watch your world flourish. The end. This brings us to the end of the story. I hope you've learned a valuable lesson from it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more inspirational stories.